know much of the truth about the Jussie Smollett case. The case file for Smollett's fake hate crime was sealed last March after prosecutors abruptly dropped all charges against the actor. Now, Judge Stephen Watkins has ordered that file to be unsealed. That file could expose exactly how state prosecutors wound up dropping the case despite substantial, maybe overwhelming evidence that the hate crime was in fact a hate hoax. Robby Soave is associate editor at Reason. He is one of the living experts on hate hoaxes. He's the author of the book Panic Attack, Young Radicals in the Age of Trump, and he joins us tonight. Robby, thanks a lot for coming on. So what do you think we're likely to learn should this file become unsealed?
Well, I think we're likely to learn what Kim Foxx already said, which was that the case was very, very strong, and if she had brought it to court, she would have won, right? She's already said that. So the only explanation for her actions that would be okay would be that the case actually had holes in it, and we could learn that in these unsealed records. But she said that's not what we're going to find. She said we're going to find that the case was very strong, and she decided not to bring it to justice, not to at least get him to plead guilty in exchange for whatever mercy we were going to show him, which would have been perfectly fine. But you had to get him to plead guilty, and she opted not to do that. Why? Right. Sympathy to him, maybe not wanting to push back on this narrative about hate crimes, that they're off the charts, something like that.
So that's really, that's got to be, in the end, the motive, is that nobody wants to admit that this epidemic of hate crimes we're supposedly living through is fake.
Yeah, the Democrats are holding hearings on this subject. I actually testified at one last week before a House subcommittee on hate crimes, and I was, the only, even though the other witnesses there very much conceded that the statistics do not show that we have this massive increase in hate crimes, they were still there to call for the government to do more about this. And Congress is taking this issue very seriously, the idea that there is some Trump-connected rise in hate crimes across the country. And, of course, the Smollett case was briefly Exhibit A in that argument. So it's pretty important to know the truth about this specific incident because it was held up as an example of a broader narrative that must be true. So we deserve to know the truth if that's what it stood for.
If you judge a crime by a conviction, and a conviction, that's when you know a crime occurred is when someone's convicted of it. If that's how you measure hate crimes, we have virtually no hate crimes in America. So you pointed out that the stats don't show what they claim they show, that this epidemic is not measured. What was the response when you said that? Actually, a lot of people concede that. Even the people I'm sitting next to at this congressional hearing are saying, well, yeah, you're kind of right. Actually, the statistics just kind of fluctuate from year to year, and they don't really show us anything. But the government still needs to do something about this, right? Because there's never a committee hearing where the conclusion is the government doesn't actually need to do anything. The conclusion is always, people will die unless we have a whole new department or something to take care of this. Obviously, hate crimes are bad when they do occur. But it's just you have to be very careful about scaring people into thinking that unless there's immediate action, there's going to be things like what happened to Jussie Smollett happening on every street across America unless we act decisively now. Unless you gain political power by scaring people, which is, of course, the point. Robby, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.